Once upon a time, nestled between the silver-misted hills of Willowmere and the edge of the moonbright forest, there lived a little girl named Eloria. She had curls like wild vines and eyes that sparkled like the dew on morning leaves. Every night, she would gaze out her window at the stars and whisper, "One day, I'll find where the magic lives." Eloria lived in a cottage with her grandmother, who told stories of enchanted creatures, hidden valleys, and ancient moonlight paths. But the one story that made Eloria's heart beat faster was the tale of the Starborn Unicorn, a rare creature born from starlight, said to grant a single wish to the one who helped it find its way home to the sky. Eloria, her grandmother said with a twinkle in her eyes, the Starborn only appears when the moon sings a silver lullaby and the wind carries the scent of glowing night flowers. You must listen carefully, for magic speaks in whispers. And Eloria listened. That night, as the moon hung low and round like a lantern in the sky, Eloria felt something stir. The wind brushed her cheek and carried a faint tune, a lullaby sung by no one she could see. It tickled the edge of her ears and called her name, "Eloria, come." She tiptoed out of bed, wrapped her soft cloak around her, and slipped out of the cottage barefoot, guided only by moonlight. The forest welcomed her. Leaves parted as if they knew her journey. The trees stood tall and gentle, their bark humming with quiet life. Owls blinked slowly, and the stars above shimmered like old friends. Then she saw it. A glow. A soft, pale light floating just beyond the glen. Eloria crept closer and gasped. There, beneath a waterfall made of stardust, stood a unicorn. Its mane flowed like clouds, its horn shimmered with galaxies, and its eyes were the color of dreams. "You're real," Eloria whispered. The unicorn bowed its head. "I am Lunara," it said, its voice like wind through wind chimes. "I fell from the stars. I must return before the moon forgets my name." Eloria's heart fluttered. "Then I'll help you. I promise." But the journey would not be easy. To return to the stars, Lunara needed the 4 gifts of the ancient animals, each hidden in the corners of the enchanted lands: the feather of truth from Glint the glowing owl, the acorn of time from Pip the magical squirrel, the scale of courage from Ember the gentle dragon, and the whisker of wisdom from Thistlewhisk the fox. Their first step was to find Glint. They walked under starlight until dawn whispered on the horizon. Birds began to sing, and the air smelled like moss and honey. Suddenly, a soft glow blinked from a tree. Glint, the tiny owl with feathers that sparkled like moonlight, peeked from a branch. "You seek my feather," Glint said. "But truth is earned, not taken. Tell me something no one else knows." Eloria thought hard. Then she said, "Sometimes I pretend I'm brave when I'm really scared. But I try anyway." Glint blinked slowly. Then, with a flutter, he dropped a single silver feather. "Then you already know truth. Go." The first gift was theirs. Their next journey was toward the Whisper Grove, where Pip the squirrel guarded the acorn of time. The forest thickened with mist. Mushrooms glowed beneath mossy logs, and tiny fairies darted through leaves like floating petals. A warm giggle echoed. Out from a swirl of ferns rolled a tiny squirrel wearing a crown made of acorn caps. "I'm Pip," he squeaked. "To have the acorn of time, you must win the riddle game." Eloria nodded. "I'll try." Pip stood tall and chirped, "I'm not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. What am I?" Eloria smiled. "A fire." Pip clapped his tiny paws. "You're clever." He opened a hollow nut and revealed a glowing golden acorn. "Time is precious," Pip said, placing it in her palm. "Use it wisely." With 2 gifts in hand, they ventured to the Embercliff Mountains. This land was vast and windy. The sky turned lavender, and clouds danced like ribbons. There, on a ledge, curled a dragon, not fierce, but soft-eyed and glowing like burning coals. Eloria approached gently. We need your scale, Ember. The dragon's voice rumbled low. Then show me courage. Face something that frightens you. Eloria trembled. The ledge was narrow. Heights made her dizzy. But she stepped to the edge, looked down at the clouds swirling far below, and whispered, I'm afraid, but I trust myself. Ember smiled and plucked a shining red scale from his wing. Then you are braver than most. The final gift lay in the windings of Whim, a maze of tall grass and whispering winds, where Thistlewhisk the clever fox made his home. The wind carried voices, some kind, some mocking. Eloria is just a little girl, one whispered. She can't help a unicorn. But Eloria kept walking. At the center of the grass, a fox with starlight eyes and shimmering fur sat on a stone. You didn't listen to the doubts, Thistlewhisk said. That's wisdom already. But my whisker must be earned with kindness. Tell me, what kindness have you shown? Eloria thought of the time she helped a crying bird find its nest. Of the day she gave her scarf to a shivering child. Of how she held Lunara's hoof when it trembled in the dark. She said nothing. She simply opened her hand and let the memories shine like lanterns. Thistlewhisk's eyes sparkled. That will do. He gently pulled a single silver whisker and placed it on her palm. Carry it with care. They had all 4 gifts. Lunara glowed brighter than ever. But the path to the stars still waited. In the meadow of moon petals, Eloria laid the 4 gifts in a circle. The wind hushed. The stars leaned in. The moon lowered and began to sing. The gifts rose into the air, circling Lunara like fireflies. The unicorn began to lift, slowly, gently, her hoofs no longer touching earth. But just as she rose, a tear slipped from Eloria's cheek. Will I see you again? She asked. Lunara's voice echoed softly, whenever you listen to the wind. Whenever you wish under the stars. And with a swirl of light and silver, Lunara vanished, returning home. Eloria stood in the moonlit field, holding the silver whisker and glowing acorn close to her heart. The forest sighed, and the stars blinked slowly, grateful. She returned home, her feet light, her spirit glowing. Grandmother sat by the window, smiling. You found where the magic lives, she said. Eloria nodded and whispered, it lives in truth, in time, in courage, in kindness, and in me. That night, as she curled beneath her star-stitched blanket, the wind brushed her cheek and whispered, thank you, brave heart. And in the stars above, for just a moment, a unicorn danced.